Hey guys, it's Megan, and before I get into this video, I just want to say that yes, I am wearing the same thing I wore in last Monday's video, and that is because I recorded them both in the same sitting. But anyways, if you want to see how I got this eye makeup look, I will put the link to that video in the description down below, but let's get this video going. I'm not gonna say that this is gonna be kind of a series, because like I don't have a million stories to tell you guys, but I do have a few embarrassing stories from my childhood that I feel like I can share with you guys. I won't be sharing any embarrassing stories about my siblings because I don't want to piss them off and make them upset with me. And plus they're not my stories, so why should I go ahead and tell them? So the story I'm going to get into today is about how when I was only 7 years old, I genuinely believed I was a dragon. I know that sounds really, really stupid, but it's honest. I was really gullible as a kid. So like, I believed that my older sister Shelby was also a dragon. That was kind of a strange thing for me to believe, and I believed it for a while, up until I was 7, I believe, was when I had to come to reality and realize that that was not the truth. Like I said, I was a really gullible child, and I was like really into Harry Potter and the Winx Club, which was this show on 4Kids TV, which was one of those channels you had basically all your favorite cartoons on Saturdays, because I didn't have cable as a kid because we were not one of the higher class like people in our neighborhood. We didn't have cable. I mean, I lived in a trailer park, for crying out loud. We couldn't afford to have cable. So like I basically grew up on 4Kids TV, PBS Kids, all those shows. Like mainly Dragon Tales, which I don't know if any of you these days actually know what that is, or any of the kids these days actually know what that is. I wonder if it's still even running. But like that was like one of my favorite shows as a kid. And of course it was based off these two kids who went to this world of dragons. So like I think that fed into why I was so obsessed with the idea that I was a dragon. And I know that it's ridiculous. I completely agree that it's ridiculous. I was kind of stupid as a kid. It's probably why I had no friends in elementary school. I had a couple friends, but they were just about as weird as I was. So as a kid, my head was definitely in the clouds, not down on earth where it was supposed to be. I really wanted these things to be real. Like, what kid didn't want these things to be real? But like, I wanted them to be real to a point where it was like I wasn't paying attention to anything other than the idea that that was possible. That says a lot about who I was as a kid. I have this older sister who you guys met in my Moving Back to College vlog, which if you haven't seen that, I will also link that down below underneath the makeup video. And yeah, so she's one of the main people in this story, Shelby. You've met her. She's great. She's awesome. And I looked up to her a lot as a little kid. I only got to see her every other weekend because she's my half sister, so she didn't live with us, but we got to see her every other weekend. And when I did get to see her, I was so excited because we used to play this game called Dragons and Fairies, and it just first started off as just dragons because like I hadn't really been introduced to the show Winx Club yet, which is the show on 4Kids TV, or it was on 4Kids TV, which I didn't realize that that wasn't actually the original version of the show, but that's the version I grew up on. So, but anyways, it was about these fairies. And like after I started watching that show, I got really obsessed with the idea of adding fairies to this game. Aside from the point, even though we added fairies to the game and I would always play as a fairy, I was still convinced that I was a dragon. Like I said, I really looked up to my big sister, and it's not like I don't still look up to her, but like I'm also an adult now, so like I kind of have to be my own person. But she was like one of my best friends as a kid, and I kind of, after this like incident happened, I kind of hated her for a little while and didn't want to play with her or talk to her because I was so mad at her. But we got over it, obviously. I was 7, okay? I believed every single thing she said. So when we played this game, we would get out this chart that my sister had made because she was like, she still is, she's actually an even better artist now than she was back then, but like she would draw these dragons and we would pick which dragon off the chart we would be when we played. And then once we added fairies, I started drawing fairies and I would pick a fairy that I would be. And once we had the chart, we kind of had these characters that we would play as, and if we didn't want to play as one of those characters, we would just create a whole new character altogether. So like, I guess like from a very young age, I've always been kind of creative and into the whole role-playing idea, but like, I guess it kind of died. Oh my gosh, what was that? My voice just did. But like, it kind of died off when I got older, because I realized that most kids weren't doing that and I wasn't making friends and I was kind of lonely as a child. But anyways, so back in first grade, while we were still like playing this game, this was like nearing the end of everything and kind of when the blow up happened, I genuinely believed I was a dragon and that my older sister was also a dragon. I believe she said that she was like this black dragon, I guess, that like she had, okay, so she said that I wouldn't see my dragon form until I got my special dragon ring, and she already had hers, and she had explained to me that her ring kept her in her human form, so as long as she was wearing it, she was a human, and she only took it off to shower, which I think now that was basically her way of telling me like, please don't barge in on me in the bathroom while I'm showering or my dragon soul will eat you. So I stayed out of the bathroom while she was in the shower, so I guess if that was her intent, it worked. But she told me that my ring, when I got it, would only reveal my dragon form while I was wearing it, and I was so excited that I was gonna get this ring someday. At some point she eventually did give me a ring and it didn't work, which was a disappointment, and I was just like, maybe I'm just not old enough or something. I was so obsessed with it that I took it everywhere and then I lost it, so like I felt really bad about that, and I'm pretty sure I lost it in first grade because we had this little like reading corner thing that was like full of like pillows and stuff that, like, you know how in first grade you all had like free time, like play time when there wasn't stuff to be learned? Well, all the kids who had friends would go play with like the toys and stuff. All the kids who didn't really have friends would go sit in this little pillow area and read, and I would usually be reading like Judy B. Jones or something like that. But I think I lost the ring there and I was really sad about it. I think I even like told the teacher like, I lost my ring, can you help me find it? And she like looked everywhere and we couldn't find it. So I was really disappointed about that, and I was also super disappointed that the ring didn't work in the first place. Like, hello, I wanted to see my dragon form. I was so obsessed with the idea that I was this like white dragon with an opal in the center of my forehead, between my brow bones. Like, I was genuinely really obsessed with this because opals are my birthstone since I'm an October baby, and that's what I was convinced was like my dragon's power source. I don't know, that makes no sense. When I finally found out that I wasn't this invincible dragon and that my sister was also not an invincible dragon, I was really, really upset. And I guess my parents forced her to tell me that she wasn't a dragon and that I wasn't a dragon with special supernatural powers, because it, I guess, got to this point where it was dangerous for me to believe this. But I was like so upset that she led me to believe that I was a dragon for so long. I was mad at her and I wouldn't talk to her and I wouldn't play with her, and I didn't want to be around her, and I didn't even want her to come over because I was so mad that she had lied to me. But like, now that I'm older, it's just like, it's funny. It's a funny story about how gullible I was as a child. So like, I'm not still salty about it. But at the time, little Megan, 7 years old, was very, very upset that she was not a dragon. I hope you guys enjoyed this embarrassing childhood story, and if you're new here, please leave a big thumbs up and subscribe because I'm trying to get to 100 subscribers. I keep losing subscribers and it's making me sad, but I understand. I'm not that great at YouTube. So, oh, and if you're not new here, you can still leave a thumbs up because it helps me out and it encourages me to make new videos. If you're already subscribed, be sure to hit that bell down below so you can get notified every time I upload a new video. And I think that that's all, and I will see you guys on Friday. Bye!